Hello, and welcome to another episode of Worst Collection Ever. This is the show where we tell you about the worst comic book collection in existence, and it just happens to belong to us. I'm Jen.
I'm Sean.
And,
how are you?
Yeah, how are you?
I don't think we say that enough to people.
Don't. How are you guys doing? Okay?
Yeah.
I hope you're okay.
Uh-huh.
Or hope you're out, doing the right thing, social distancing, staying safe and healthy, wearing masks. So, yeah.
I want to say, we were talking about this earlier, about masks.
Yeah.
And how much we enjoy the masks.
I do enjoy a mask.
And I don't understand why people are so against wearing them. I don't know. I just think it's fun.
I like a mask. I appreciate, being able to just cover up the old face, not have to worry. I don't have to wear makeup. It's been nice.
We rewatched it for the first time in a long time, Ace Ventura.
Yeah.
First one.
Because it's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix. And we were sitting around and we were like, I want to watch something that's going to make me laugh. Because I feel like we've been watching some intense shit. Because we also have been watching Perry Mason.
Yes.
On HBO, which we'll talk about that after. But yeah, Ace Ventura, that movie, I mean, I've seen it. It's one of those movies I haven't seen a ton, but I remember it.
Oh my God, I saw it
very well.
So many times when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I think it may edge out The Mask just a little bit.
See, I only saw The Mask maybe once or twice. Probably definitely at least once.
I always preferred The Mask, but we had both, and I remember my sister and I just would watch both of them just on repeat constantly. So Ace Ventura, obviously problematic, doesn't really hold up.
Nope.
But you know what? Jim Carrey is really fucking good at what he does.
Yeah, he's very funny.
He's really funny, even though Ace Ventura is just such a fucking stupid premise. It's a stupid movie. It's really dumb, but he's really good at it.
Yeah, no, Jim Carrey at the height of his powers was just, I don't know, man. I mean, that guy, he was great.
Yeah. And I don't really think we have any physical comedian people who do impressions and shit like him anymore.
Not
recently anyway. I mean, there's people out there that do it, but I'm trying to think of like a young person.
Yeah.
Who does it right now. Not anybody I can think of. Like, if I'm thinking like voice stuff, I'm like, oh, Bill Hader can do like all sorts of impressions, but he's kind of like Jim Carrey's age.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think of like a young person who's come up lately that can do shit like that.
Well, you know what it is I feel like we don't have mainstream movies that are out of control zany.
That's true.
Anymore. Probably because a lot of the problematic nature of these movies.
They don't have to be, but I'm sure if we made one today, it would be problematic in 20 years. Let's be honest.
Right. But I'm saying it's something where it's like if they just cut loose in a movie like they do with Ace Ventura and just had just a complete insanity of characters and just, because I feel like a lot of times things are very, and I'm not trying to sound those people. It's like, oh, everybody's complaining. Like, no, I mean, a lot of people have, a lot of people take contention with things that, maybe rightly so, but at the same time, it's just like, well, they have, but they just happen, and I don't know. It's one of those things where there's a lot of stuff in that movie that I'm laughing at, but there's also a lot of stuff in that movie that I shouldn't be laughing at. Like, it wasn't like, obviously there's a big transphobic issue in that movie.
Yeah.
If you've never seen it. But basically the lead villain ends up, is presumed to be a woman, but she is really a man.
Yeah.
And we are milking that
for
all it's worth anytime we can.
It's not even just one scene. I mean, it carries on for scenes.
It's not even just a throwaway joke. It's just it is the fucking denouement that. I'm trying to think of that word, but it's the apex.
It's the key to the movie, basically.
Yeah. And it's when you're a kid, when you're 14, or when the movie came out, I was a kid. I was 14 when the movie came out. That movie was... It was everywhere. Everybody watched it. Yeah, and you're just like, oh, man, this is fun. I'm having a great time watching this. I don't... Captain Einhorn's a man. Oh, my God, I'm having such a good time.
Right.
And then you watch it back later, and you're just like, this is...
Yeah.
This... I mean, it's... Jim Carrey is very funny. It's just... This is very weird to watch now. And I mean, there's even
There's just little parts in there, though, that aren't even supposed to be funny, but they're funny just because like Jim Carrey will like look at somebody somewhat like
Yeah.
in a certain way. And that makes it funny. And those are always my favorite moments in that movie. One of my favorite scenes is that one where he's going to go look for the dolphin at that party.
Yeah.
When he's like randomly sneaking around and he jumps out of a very low window. And then he goes and for some reason he jumps onto like the other side of a railing for no reason. It takes like 3 steps and jumps back over and then like jumps on a wall and pretends to be like climbing along the wall, but he's just standing on the ground.
Yeah.
Like it's just really fucking dumb, but it's really funny. That's one of my favorite scenes in that movie.
Well, because he's doing
Because it's so fucking stupid.
Because he's doing
It's weird. It's like Gronk in Emperor's New Groove.
Yeah, he's doing a bit for no one but himself.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's just amusing the shit out of himself. I love the one scene where he walks in to that party and that guy is dressed like he's dressed like a sea captain or whatever,
Sure.
the guy, like the butler
He's
or
like
whatever.
the guy who answers the door, yeah.
The guy, the butler or whatever, and he looks like Gavin McLeod from Love Boat, and he's like, "Hi, Captain Stubing, how are Gopher and Doc?" And he just goes, "Humph," and he just walks away. Like he's just doing he's just biting, just doing like stupid faces at people,
Right.
And that shit's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, that's really funny.
And just him going into a Cannibal Corpse concert.
Oh my God.
And just being Jim Carrey, being Ace Ventura in a Cannibal Corpse concert where everybody else just continues to be death metal Cannibal Corpse. Like he's just walking up to some guy just headbanging. He's like, "Hey, where's so-and-so?
Is Mike here or whatever?"
He's like, "All right, thanks." And
the guy just keeps headbanging. He just goes, "Thank you."
And there's just like a cutaway of him just in like kind of like in the crowd, just kind of bobbing up and down, like looking like Ace Ventura. And that's fucking. My God,
really
I love that.
It's just stupid.
That shit's fucking hilarious. But that movie, it doesn't hold up, but it's still fun to watch, I guess.
There's some fun moments to it, sure.
Definitely, I don't understand, too, how people were like, "Oh, this could be for kids."
Again, I was 14.
There's a violent blowjob, implied blowjob in the first, 10 minutes.
My mom wouldn't let me watch Terminator, but that was fine. Ace Ventura, totally fine. My sister's 11 years old, and we're watching this fucking Ace Ventura constantly.
Oh, yeah.
Constantly, but Terminator, no. Alien, no.
Yeah, I don't know.
It doesn't make any sense. I'm like, okay, I mean, I don't see the difference.
Alien doesn't have violent blowjobs.
No, it certainly doesn't.
I can confirm.
I can confirm there's no violent blowjobs in Alien or Aliens.
Or Terminator.
Or Terminator or Terminator 2. Just dudes getting shot in the knee.
What's worse, shot in the knee or violent blowjob? You make the call.
Choose your own adventure.
So we watched.
Which apparently is a movie thing now.
Oh, I know. There's like a Kimmy Schmidt movie that's on there. And
There's a Kimmy Schmidt movie, but they're also going to release Death in the Family movie as like a choose your own adventure.
The Batman, yeah.
So like some of the scenes are from Under the Red Hood, but some of them are brand new. And I guess like you get to choose like if Jason Todd blows up or like if Batman saves him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is this movie?
I kind of hope I wish they would do it where you just don't pick anything and Batman just stares at you. He just goes, "The fuck? Come on."
Nothing
Am
happens.
I going to do something? I mean, what am I doing?
No. Maybe Batman stops at a Dunks.
It's like, here's a third option. Go get coffee. All right.
Why is that not my option? I would pick it throughout the whole movie.
He's just at he's like, just go through a Dunkin' Donuts. You just hear a building explode. He's like, "Oh, shit. Oh, well."
Rush to the scene of the explosion. Stop to eat a donut. Stop to eat a donut.
Oh, I'm picking donuts every time. That's like when we were watching Bandersnatch. And
Munchkins.
we were watching Bandersnatch, and one of the options was like, punch the therapist. And I was like, punch the therapist. I was like, movie's over.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
We did that a lot. I think we ended up doing that where it was like every bad choice we could make because it was such a weird idea.
Yeah.
That I was just like, yeah, punch the fucking therapist.
I wonder if that Kimmy Schmidt thing might be fun.
Maybe.
Because I love Kimmy Schmidt.
I love Kimmy Schmidt too, but I don't know how I feel about Choose Your Own Adventure. Probably because, and I'm sure I've told the story, I was so soured by Choose Your Own Adventure when I was a kid. Because I had one Choose Your Own Adventure book, and I always died the same way. No matter how many choices I made, I always got eaten by a giant spider. It was very annoying.
Well, couldn't you like look back and be like...
Well, at first I didn't understand what a Choose Your Own Adventure book was because somebody had just given it to me. So I just tried to read it all the way through and I was like, why doesn't this make sense? And then I figured out what it was because I read the instructions. And then I was like, oh, okay. So I always would end up at this, I would crawl down this tunnel and it would get very small. And at the end of it, giant spider, and then I get eaten. So I was like, I'm not going to make that choice. And I would make all these different choices, and I would always end up with a giant spider.
Well, why'd you keep crawling down the hole?
So it's all the same thing. It's like you make a choice, you're like, you go here, and all of a sudden you're like, do this thing, and it's like now you see a hole and you're crawling down it, and at the end it's a giant spider.
Well, then what's the point of the adventure?
I don't know.
Because obviously there has to be a different option, right?
I don't know. Apparently I just fucked it up every time I got eaten by a spider.
How does this book work? I can't read the other part.
No.
where I don't crouch down the hole and I go get coffee.
Yeah.
I go to Dunkin' Donuts with Batman.
Buy 48 munchkins and drink extra large dunks. Where's that option?
The cover is just Jed sitting on a bench eating
with munchkins in like the biggest Dunkin' Donuts coffee.
This big coffee. It's like don't get. It's just called don't get eaten by a spider. Choose your own adventure book.
Yeah. Eat donuts. Choose your own adventure.
No, yeah, I would like eat donuts. the option to eat donuts and just be like, oh, that was a good day. I'm gonna go home, and then that's how the book ends.
Yeah.
The other thing, I wanted to bring up was we watched Perry Mason on HBO.
Yeah.
And this is the gritty prequel reboot. Well, it's not even a reboot because it's
Perry Mason Begins.
Perry Mason Begins. The gritty Perry Mason prequel story. Perry Mason, of course, being the lawyer drama from the late 50s, early 60s.
Yeah, about there.
And I want to say that they also did revive it in like the late 80s.
Well, apparently he's a book character. There was a bunch of books about Perry Mason, specials, stuff like that. And then he was a TV guy, a character. I assume he came back in the 80s.
I think
I just remember everybody always mentioned Perry Mason was always like a throwaway mention.
Yeah.
People were like, oh, so-and-so's watching Perry Mason. Like, it's always been a thing.
Because I remember,
even though I've never seen anything of Perry Mason.
Well, the Perry. I remember because it used to be on. I think it was on TBS, or they would do like TV movies on like NBC or some shit, or whatever station it was on. I think it was either NBC or CBS. And I think it was NBC because I know there was a joke on an episode. Actually, my favorite episode of Fresh Prince about the pool party, where they have a pool party because Uncle Phil told them not to, and Will and Carlton as a lark. Just to teach some common sense, Uncle Phil served them a subpoena and sent, had them come to trial. And they were doing it, and he was like, "Oh yeah, they're not going to take this seriously." And then they came into the room, and the Perry Mason theme was playing.
That's funny.
Carlton and Will are coming in. Actually, that's my favorite episode. I think it's actually might be on HBO Max.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
I think maybe I should find that sometime. That and also the song Perry Mason by Ozzy Osbourne from his 1995 album Osmosis, where it's just something like, "Who can we get on the case? We need Perry Mason."
Good job, babe. So proud.
But the song jams. I don't know why he's singing about Perry Mason.
Maybe Ozzy's a real big Perry Mason fan.
He's old enough to probably have enjoyed Perry Mason. But anyways, it's a gritty reboot. It's Perry Mason as an investigator, private investigator,
working for John Lithgow.
Progressive
soup.
Yes, John Lithgow, and he's trying to solve a case about a baby murder.
Yeah, that's right. That is what this is about.
It's about a baby murder, and Stephen Root, stapler guy from Office Space, he plays the DA. And the girl that plays Sheila, the wolf girl on Glow, plays like the mother of this dead baby. And then there's also this church thing going on with Tatiana Maslany from Orphan Black.
Yeah,
and she looks like Lady Gaga.
Yeah,
and she's she's like, it's like a revivalist church, but they're also doing like plays in the middle of the fucking church.
Yeah, she's got like a radio show and. Apparently it's based on, and I vaguely remember hearing about this, but apparently it's based on like an actual church that was like founded in LA.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in the 30s, because there was this whole thing where they were going to literally do what they're doing in the movie, which is like have this whole town that
Oh, yeah, that's right.
is-
There's supposed to be it's something about
it's
town. Yeah.
full of the constituents and like the members of the church, but it kind of all falls apart. And I think somebody ends up getting murdered because I feel like I heard about it on My Favorite Murder, but I
That sounds about right.
vaguely remember it.
I don't want to get into it because you should, if you have HBO Max or HBO or whatever, you should watch it. But it's pretty nuts. Like Robert Downey Jr. is like producing it.
Yeah.
Like him and his wife. There's just this one scene, I think it was the most recent episode, where they're like, everybody's in a fucking cemetery and people,
Oh my God, there was like fights in the cemetery.
because Tatiana Maslany is like, I'm going to resurrect this dead baby, and she knows she can't, but everybody believes her, and
Yeah.
a lot of people don't, and then it's like this big media spectacle, and then Perry Mason's driving his car, punching people off of cars. It's nuts. It's nuts, and I can't. And I think the finale is next week. So
Sunday, yeah.
And it was only supposed to be like a limited series, but it obviously is done very well. So they're just gonna bring it back for a second season, which I'm like, great,
Sure.
Which is it's nice too. It's nice to watch something new because you were like telling me you was like, oh, we should watch Perry Mason, and I was like,
Because I kept hearing all these people talk about it.
yeah, I was kicking the tires on it, and then we were just like, okay, fine, let's watch it. And that's what happens with these shows. Is like you kick the tires on them for a while. I'm just saying in general.
Yeah.
And then you just go, oh, I guess I'll watch it, and then you're Masonite
Sure.
or whatever they call the fans.
I don't know. I mean, it's got the guy who plays Perry Mason is what's his name? Matthew Reese.
Is he an American actor?
No, he's Welsh.
Is he Welsh? Okay,
He's Welsh, but
he's his accent. I was thinking
You don't really
his
pick-
accent.
you don't really pick it up because he was in The Americans forever, which is a fantastic show.
Was he Russian and American?
Yeah, but he never has. I mean, he really doesn't ever have a Russian accent. He's just American because that's the whole thing. He's supposed to. Him and Kerry Russell are Russian spies who are living in America, but they're blending in and whatever, and like doing all these like missions on the back end to like, for the joy of Russia or whatever, to like stop America. And there's like a whole conflict between him and Kerry Russell because they're married, but they're married because that's their assignment to be married. So they always have a kind of like, you can tell he kind of loves her a little bit more than she does. And it's just like this weird dynamic. He kind of likes living in America. Like he likes having a car, like the fast car that he gets. And he likes, not starving and he likes America, but she's like a super zealot, like dedicated to the cause. So they like have these huge things where they're like, let's get out of here. Like, let's get out of life and just stay. And she's like, are you crazy? We're going to go to Russia. And he's like, why would we go to Russia? And there's like this whole thing they're going through.
We have Dolby Sound System and Nintendo.
Yeah,
why
but
would we?
Neither one of them have Russian accents. But there's a lot of wigs in that show. So many wigs, so many fake mustaches.
But yeah, Perry Mason. It's pretty dope.
Yeah, he's a pretty good actor.
So let's take a quick break and we'll come back with our book for this week.
Do you want to feel more like a part of your favorite comic book podcast? Well, then join me, David, and my co-host Dane over on Comic Trades Monthly, where every month we talk about a volume of your favorite comic series. Just like a book club format, we go through the ins and outs of character, plot, and story arc in general as to what it means today. So, come over to Comic Trades Monthly and tell us what you think of the next volume that we're going to be reading. I can't wait to see you there.
All right, we're back here in Worst Collection Ever with our book for this week. It is yet another selection from our pile of quarantine comics, which is getting kind of low.
Oh, no.
I mean, it's not that low.
I was going to say.
But there's still like, I feel like we got to be halfway through at this point. But this one is called The 12, number 5 from July 2008. The 12 is a Marvel book. It's a limited series. It was written, well, I'm assuming he wrote it, J. Michael Straczynski. This is an interesting concept. Do you know anything about this?
I mean, I know the concept because I read it, but...
Do you know, like, who these characters, like, really are?
My guess is they are actually old comic book characters from back in the day that Marvel, except for Black Widow, that Marvel hasn't used in a bajillion years, so they just threw them in this book.
Yeah. That's it.
And I'm guessing probably to like maintain copyright or something. If we really want to get down to the business reason.
Yeah, most likely. But I didn't realize that. And I was looking this up and I'm just like, okay, I think, are these all like is this just like a story about like some anachronistic characters? displaced out of time.
Yeah.
And as it turns out, these are all very real characters that existed primarily in the 40s.
Yeah, I figured they were. I did not do any research, but that was my guess.
And even Black Widow. That's something I didn't realize there was multiple Black Widows. And there was like a Black Widow before that, but she's
kind of like Black Canary.
Yeah.
There's like a bunch of them.
Yeah, it's very much it's a very like it's a very DC kind of idea.
Yeah.
But it also reminds me of like what Watchmen was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Because the whole idea about Watchmen was that when DC purchased like Charlton Comics, or a bunch of these other older comic book lines, and they got access to like Captain Atom and the Blue Beetle and those other characters, like they were going to, Alan Moore wanted to use those characters in Watchmen and just basically do what he was going to do with them. But obviously, DC was like, nah, because we got plans for, Blue Beetle and I don't know. I like this, and it's just interesting because I'm like, these are characters that like some of these I wouldn't think to exist.
Sure.
Like they would be like actual characters, but apparently they were. But a lot of them too only like were around for maybe like 3 or 4 issues,
right?
And like stuff like Mystic Comics and USA like just random ass bullshit. Like they were just around for barely 3 or 4 issues.
Sure.
It's interesting. The story itself, after kind of reading like a synopsis of it and stuff like that, it gets pretty out of control.
Yeah, that sounds right.
It makes sense. Well, I'll just talk about the cover here real quick. So on the cover, it says the 12. And it also, something that's interesting is that it doesn't have like a typical Marvel logo on it.
No, it doesn't.
Like the way
I had to go back and actually look. I was like, wait, is this Marvel? And I went back and looked.
Well, it says Marvel Comics Publication, but for a second I was like, the way that it's set up, I thought I was like, well, maybe this is like an Epic Comics or like a different imprint of Marvel.
Uh-huh.
And no, this is just actually like a Marvel comic. It just is the way that they put it.
Right.
And it's very much, tied into the rest of the Marvel comics, canon. It's 616. Right. So there's no reason why Hulk couldn't show up and fight the Blue Blade or whatever.
I got a lot of thoughts about the Blue Blade.
Oh yeah. So anyways, on the cover here it says we have a picture of a grimacing man with a half mask. He's got a red mask, half red. Was like, I don't know what they're called because it's not a full mask, but it's just like
it's like a cowl.
Yeah, I guess you would say. I guess they're cowls.
Yeah.
Red mask, red cape, and he's holding a smoking gun, and he's looking into the camera like. It says the witness, because this is the witness. Mm-hmm. The witness. He's seen what you've done. A soul-searing expose. What's happening here is that you have these 12 heroes
who were like fighting the Nazis in World War II, and they got like frozen.
Yes. They got captured and frozen. So they've been on ice until 2008. Yes.
When they are unfrozen and just dropped into the modern world. So it's basically them dealing with coming from the 40s to now.
Well, actually, what they did originally, and this is kind of fucked up, they tried to do like a village thing with them initially.
Oh, really?
Where they had them in a hospital, and they're trying to be like, yeah, this is the 40s. Look, you're in these
kind of like what they did at the end of Captain America.
What do you mean?
Do you remember the end of the first Captain America movie?
Well, I thought he just falls into the ice, or he just blows up on that ship.
I don't remember if it's a stinger.
Probably a stinger, yeah.
Because there's the part where he wakes up in the hospital, and the nurse comes in, and she's like, "Oh yeah, Captain, you're in the hospital." Da 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 da, and it's set up to look like 1940.
Oh, okay.
And he clocks it right away that it's not because there's too many things that are wrong, and he runs out, and doesn't he end up in like the middle of Times Square or something, and Nick Fury shows up and talks to him?
Yeah, I remember now.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since I've seen that particular one.
Me too, but I do remember that scene.
So there's these different characters, and they're all frozen, and they get released, and they're trying to put this ruse in this hospital, and they end up seeing through it anyways. And then they're like, fine, look, it sucks that you guys have been frozen for so long, but the government is like, look, we'll give you a year to decide whether or not you want to either be a government operative, because we're already Civil War.
Yeah.
Past Civil War. So you have to register as being a hero, or you can just live your life not being a hero or not being a superhero. They also give them like a mansion to live in.
Yeah. They live in this like nice house somewhere.
Yeah. And they just like, look, you can live in this mansion, you know, all your families are probably
Professor X's X-Men.
Oh, the school.
The school, because it's all nice and shit. And yeah, but a lot of them have to be like, okay, well, is anybody I knew still alive? And I think that's in here too. So
the roll call is we start with Phantom Reporter.
Which that was one of those ones where I was like, okay, he probably didn't last more than like an issue.
But here's the thing. All these guys like have like powers. Like even the Phantom Reporter, like he's got like some sort of like.
But not really great powers. Because there's even a scene where he's talking to one of the other guys. He's like, well, we're not one of the superpower, like the high powered guys. So we should team up.
Well, they have like super strength and like a lot of them have like super strength and like durability and, you know, some gimmicks, but like not a lot outside of that.
Sure.
We have Phantom Reporter, Rockman.
Yeah, Rockman confused the hell out of me because I don't even think he's in this issue.
He's not in this issue, but Rockman is basically a dude who thinks he has like a subterranean family.
Thinks he has?
But there really isn't because something happens with like he gets affected by some rock or something. And he has like stone durability powers or whatever.
Okay.
Fiery Mask. Mm-hmm. Who has fire eyes.
Sure.
Mastermind Excello, which is a long name for a hero.
It's really weird for a hero, yeah. But he's like a psychic, right?
Maybe.
He has some sort of like mind ability.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly what it is, but yeah.
Mr. E. I forgot what he does, but Captain Wonder, who's basically like a Superman. He has he's actually more like Hourman.
Yeah.
Because he has like a wonder fluid. That's what it's called that he uses. The Witness.
Who, that's a fucked up character, which we'll talk about him.
Yeah, we'll save that.
Because I'm like, that was a real character in the 40s? Because that is fucked up.
That's pretty dark, and I'm surprised.
It's real dark.
I'm surprised like they didn't do more with that. It's like kind of maybe like, bring it back.
Yeah, I was like, can we bring him back now? Because he's kind of perfect for now.
Black Widow, who is just, she's like a demon child. This Black Widow.
Oh, is that what she's supposed to? Then that makes a lot of sense when we actually, there's one frame with her and I was like, hey, Black Widow, what's up? Can we be friends?
Yeah, she's like a.
It's like a raven.
Yeah, like a raven kind of deal.
Yeah.
Laughing Mask, who Laughing Mask, poor
Laughing Mask kind of gets the shaft in this fucking book.
Which is actually pretty funny.
It's hilarious.
And then Blue Blade, who is he looks like a Three Musketeers.
He really does. There's some really questionable outfits in this book. We will talk about it.
Dynamic Man, who ends up being, this is very much, I feel like this is very emphasized in the Marvel Wiki, a genitalless android.
Oh, is he the guy in the box?
What box?
Remember there's that woman who wants to get the thing back? It's the guy in the box.
No, this is the next. So there's Electro. That's the robot.
Oh, the robot.
That's the robot that is controlled by this guy's father or whatever, or this woman, or something. I forgot exactly what. I don't know if I don't know if the guys are alive or whatever. But yeah, we start right off with the Witness. Yeah, the Witness is sitting at a diner,
hanging out in a diner somewhere. Probably in the financial district. Well, no, maybe closer to like a courthouse. I'm assuming they're in New York. And she's like, hey, man, once the lawyers, because this is like, ground zero for all the lawyers. Right. Once they go home for the night, this place is like empty as shit. You're the only guy here. So.
This waitress is stacked, by the way, and I'm not.
Oh, she's real. No, her rack is huge.
I don't really want to point that out, but it's
no, it's insane how big.
It's like that episode of Seinfeld where like all the waitresses were stacked, and like I think it was like somebody was complaining. I think it was Elaine was complaining about it. Yeah. So she's like, "Well, what's your story?" And so he starts out with something like he doesn't want a pie or anything, and then because she asks him, "Oh, you want pie? You want this?" He's like, so what do you want? And he's like, well, I want justice. And she's like, oh man, well, anybody who starts out with a fucking pickup line like that's got to have a story. Well, he says specifically, he goes, you look like you're waiting for something. And he's like, I'm waiting for justice.
Yeah. And she's like, all right, lay it on me, buddy. But before we can get into his story, she's like, oh wait, my friend called me and told me I had to see what was going on the TV. And that's when we see, what's his name?
Dynamic Man.
Apparently, Dynamic Man has gone and registered with the government.
Well, this is confusing because I had to double check this, but so he's standing here and like on this TV.
Yeah.
And it looks like his hands are behind his back. He's just kind of standing at attention.
It looks like he's being arrested.
But that's the thing. I'm looking at it because he's got these cops behind him. And I'm like, why is he being arrested if he's registering? I thought that's a good thing. So he is helping the FBI by just breaking through walls. He's
basically like the first guy in the SWAT team.
Yeah.
And he like gets flamethrowered.
Well, yeah, it's a fucking exterminator.
Oh,
remember the hot dog guy?
Yeah, yeah.
He's not the hot. Her Terminator's not the exterminator's not the hot dog guy. Watch the exterminator. You know what we're talking about, but he is being flambéed by the exterminator.
Yeah, yeah.
But this also doesn't make sense because later on, when he's revealed to be like an android, it's because the fiery mask burns off all of his clothes. But for some reason, he's being burned here and his clothes aren't coming off. So I guess that makes no sense.
So they're like, oh, well, this guy's, registered with the government. He's working with the FBI, whatever. And so then after that little news report is over, we go back to talking to who's the witness.
Well, we get a joke here. We get a joke, a J. Edgar Hoover joke.
Oh, yeah. Like he says that J. Edgar Hoover was like a great man.
Yeah, he's like, J. Edgar Hoover was a man's man.
And J. Edgar Hoover was a cross-dresser. She's like, well, you're not going to be the only guy here by yourself for a while because here comes one of my regulars.
Well, no, we get his origin first.
Oh, you're right. We get his origin first.
So we get the witness's origin. And basically, he was a cop who accidentally shot an innocent man.
And he actually cared.
He was very remorseful about it, but he had to go to jail.
Yes. And he was in jail for like 6 months or something.
Yeah, and then 2 years.
Oh, 2 years.
He was in jail for 2 years, and he got out, and he couldn't fucking get a job, and he was living on the streets. So he was like, "Life sucks. So I'm gonna kill myself.
Time to off myself."
And then, but as he's about to do that, and I feel like this is an origin of somebody. I'm trying to think. This reminded me of somebody. It's kind of like the Spectre. The Spectre wasn't killing himself though; like he got murdered.
Right. Also, kind of like Spawn. Got murdered.
Well, Spawn got murdered and he like hooked up with the devil.
Well, that was the thing. Spawn was so angry he hooked up with the devil. But still, he died and was sent back in this superhero guise to like do something. Yeah,
and so what he's supposed to do is it's kind of like a Minority Report thing.
Yeah, he knows people's deepest, darkest secrets, and he can see bad things that are going to happen to people. But he gets to sit there and be like, if this person is good, then my job is to try to prevent this horrible thing from happening because they're a good person. Uh-huh. If this person is not bad, my job is to watch them die or whatever horrible thing is going to happen because they deserve it because they're a terrible person.
So that's when
her regular comes in.
She's like, oh, okay. Anyways, there's one of my guys. And
here's my old, my old regular who's like, at that time, 80 something.
The witness is like, is he a good man? And she's like, well, he doesn't tip that well. It's like, well, he wasn't that good when he was a guard at Auschwitz.
Right.
And then he goes outside to watch this old man get hit by a bus.
Which is actually hilariously funny. But yeah, and he just like, I have to sit here. He says something. He's like, I have to watch the thing that's supposed to happen or whatever. It's dark as shit, actually.
It's pretty fucked up. I
kind of like it.
So this old man gets hit by a bus.
Dies.
Going to Yancey Street, by the way, going to pick up the thing.
Yeah.
But he has to wear his outfit. So imagine
yeah, that's right. He has to put on his costume.
Well, I don't know if it's something where it just automatically appeared, but he's sitting there because he's wearing a suit.
Yeah.
And he's just wearing like a suit in the diner. And then the guy's crossing the street. So in the midst of this time of this man crossing the street, he has to get his cowl and his outfit on and go and watch this guy get hit by a bus. And he watches it and he just has a look on his face like somebody farted, which
probably because
rightfully so.
It's horrifying to have to watch somebody get hit by a bus.
He's like, yeah, I got to watch that. So that's it. So then we cut to this mansion where the rest of the dudes are there, and so we got the witness.
It's like the next morning.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. So we got the witness,
the professor guy. Man. Is that the professor? Which one's the professor?
It's hard to tell because
I don't know who they are yet. But whoever the professor guy is,
the mastermind
is. If he's
got weird eyebrows, so he's not there.
Yeah. Well, no, there's a guy because they call this guy the professor. He's like a teacher or something.
Professor Jordan here was telling us. So
I have no idea.
I think it's Mr. E is the professor.
Yeah, I think.
Or maybe it's a Phantom Reporter. It's one of the two.
No, Phantom Reporter's the guy sitting in the thing later. I forget who this is. So anyways, they call him the professor, whatever. And he's just like staring at a picture because he found out that the kids that he left when he went to the war, who were at the time like, 6 or 7, they're dead. So his wife's dead. So he's just like staring at this picture being like, everybody's like, oh, well, what's with him? He's like, he's mad because his family's dead or whatever.
Diamondback Man comes in and he's like,
what the hell?
He's like, hey guys, I work for the FBI now. Isn't that pretty cool? And they're like, hey man, maybe you should like chill out because this guy's family's dead. He's like, fuck that.
Yeah.
So
and then they're going to get in a fight. And that's where the guy with the flame eyes like steps in between them.
Oh, so is this his fiery mask?
Yeah. Whoever steps in between them.
Yeah, we have a little brawl here.
Yeah.
Then this is where we get the guy that was running the Electro robot, his daughter.
Yeah, so the daughter is talking to like a military guy and she's like, hey, I know you found this robot in Germany with all these frozen heroes, but it's my father's because here's the patent and da-da-da-da. And the military's guy's like, salvage rules, sorry, not your, ours. And she's like, well, you're not even keeping it. I'm going to take you to court and get it back. He's like, well, whatever. And then she tells the story that like her father like telepathically connected with this robot.
Yeah.
And then when it like went off course in Germany, he was too far away from it. So like the link snapped and her father died of loneliness.
His brain died of loneliness.
And I was like, what? And so did that. And she's like, yeah, don't, we'll see you in court or whatever. So that's just what that is.
So this is where we get the Blue Blade. This is where Blue Blade.
Oh, Blue Blade. My fucking God.
So Blue Blade
was an actor.
Yes.
And
And now he's back. He was frozen in the 40s.
yeah.
Thawed out 2008.
And this is where we start the questionable outfit choices.
100%.
That are in this, because so the Blue Blade is dressed like a Three Musketeer, but he doesn't have a shirt
No
on.
shirt. Just cape.
Just a cape with like the little thing. And then he's wearing those like, the puffy shorts that they used to wear, like basically like the guard in the Vatican wear them, these like weird, annoyingly puffy shorts.
Oh yeah. Oh, he's got no pants.
And then he just has bare legs and they're like all ripped and they're like very lovingly detailed. It's real weird. I'm like, why is this from the 40s? Why is this man dressed like this?
But apparently, I don't know if I can't remember if he was an actor, like a celebrity.
Well, he says that the reason that he even tried to make Blue Blade a superhero is so he wouldn't have to audition anymore because he hates to audition. And right now, the Blue Blade is at a TV studio. He's like with, I'm assuming his agent, and he's like, we're going to get you to like have a variety show.
This agent guy is like an old dude. He reminds me of the turtle from BoJack Horseman.
Yeah, pretty much. Yes, 100%.
Actually, a lot of these dudes here,
yeah.
like they because a lot of these, it's weird because they're supposed to, like a bunch of executives here.
Yeah,
it's
because
2008, but a lot of these people just look like they're older Don Drapers and shit.
Yeah, so he's like gonna do his variety show in front of these executives to try to get it greenlit. And he has like these dancers who are dressed like him, and they're called the Bladies.
The Bladies, yeah, a bunch of women in corsets and.
So it's like, here's the Blue Blade, and he comes down, and there's all these dancers.
There's some bits here because like he's like, his agent's like, hey, maybe like. The agent, the networks want to make sure you're hip to like a modern audience. He's like, well, kids just want to grow up to be Douglas Fairbanks. And he's like, yeah, the thing about that, nobody knows who Douglas Fairbanks is.
Your audience would have to Google who Douglas Fairbanks is.
Most viewers out there wouldn't know who Fairbanks was without Googling him. And he goes, well, that seems fair because Mr. Fairbanks spent a lot of his time Googling every woman he met. This guy would be a hit on either CBS.
Oh, yeah.
I think your dad would love this guy.
Oh, my dad would absolutely love this guy because basically what happens is this guy comes in and he's like, here it is, the Blue Blade. And then he just rips off Rodney Dangerfield's act. And he does like wife jokes. He does wife jokes.
Like hacky, like Henny Youngman jokes.
He's like, oh, I'm not going to touch these.
Complete with a rim shot. But don't bump.
But don't bump. He literally does. He's like, he's like, oh, look at these hot ladies, but don't you worry, I'm not going to touch them because my wife would kill me. And then he's like, my wife really misses me. Yeah, she's got like a sniper on the roof. Maybe if that guy gets better, she's not going to miss me.
I like, so his agent's watching this. He's just like doing these jokes and the agent's like, yeah. And then this guy sitting in front of him is just like, got this horrified look on. It's just like Red Foreman, motherfucker.
Yeah, because this guy gets really
he's like the head of the networks or something.
Yeah, and he's like, wife jokes. Like he gets all mad.
Yeah, wife jokes. I thought it was at a roast, and he's like, no, maybe we'll. He's like, look, maybe retro is hot. Maybe we should let him. Maybe you don't want to let him go to another network,
right?
But then this fucking guy, this head of this big wig is just like, all right, well, I guess we'll give him a deal. And
he's like, but you only get 3 episodes. You only get 3 episodes and get him some writers.
Mid-season.
Yep, and get him some writers.
Fuck, not even mid-season. Give him just summer. Drop him in a summer time slot.
Yeah,
I don't know why not just get somebody. Go to fucking cable. Go to TV Land.
Yeah, I mean, this is what 2008.
2008.
Yeah, we've got some shit. We've got some space for that.
There's options.
There is in 2008.
There are plenty of options. Shit.
There's plenty of weirdos out there who love this guy's show.
You could film this thing and put it in syndication on what is that? I think
Pluto TV.
Yeah, Pluto TV. No, what was that? There was my parents used to watch it. They would show all these old shows. It's like
Nick at Night?
No, Nick at Night. Well, Nick at Night is basically TV Land.
Yeah, well now, it used to be called Nick at Night.
I think it was around that too, yeah, because TV Land's been around for a long time.
Yeah, but it used to be when I was a kid, Nick at Night.
Yeah, oh yeah, I remember that, but they're trying to figure this out. Yeah, they should just go to YouTube and see if it's even works.
At this point, yeah.
But he's like, no, I have to have a network TV show, and they're just like, maybe we'll give you a network show.
Yeah.
Now I don't know if this is something though where in previous issues, because we're issue 5, I don't know if in the previous 4 issues these guys have been this Blue Blade has been out doing the fucking talk show circuit,
right.
If he's kind of hit guy from the rest of the crew. Right. Because Jay Leno's probably like, you hear this? You hear about this? You hear about these guys? These popsicles that came on?
Popsicles.
And he's like, well, we're going to have one on here. It's like, hey, Blue Blade, you hear about this? And, so that's basically, I wonder if that's what's happening. Maybe they went viral or something like that. Because, YouTube it's 2008. YouTube is
it's
on its way, to being basically, what we do.
Right.
So, but he ends up getting a show and he is elated. Then we cut to it's the
professor, right? This is the he's at the school.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the guy who was sad about his kids dying.
Yeah, he's at the school and I'm trying to. I don't know exactly who this guy. Which one would.
I don't know who he is exactly, but they call him the professor, whatever.
Yeah.
So he's at the school and he's there to cheer up kids or whatever, and he's talking to at-risk youth. But the problem is that everything he says just doesn't hold any water to these kids.
One of the guys is like, hold up your hands if someone in your family got shot, and all these kids hold their hands.
Yeah.
And this guy's just like, who would shoot other kids? And this guy's like, other kids.
Yeah.
He'll shoot other kids. And he's sitting on the
then he goes out to the bleachers or whatever, and that's when Dynamic Man shows back up and he's tries to give him a pep talk. He's like, look, this world is not the world we were promised in the 40s. We were promised flying fucking cars.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm with you, man.
This guy's fucking right. He's like, this is just not what we were promised. I'm like, yeah, this isn't what any of us were promised.
He says, flying cars, jetpacks, no more poverty, buildings 5 miles high, and lunar colonies. God damn it, I want my flying cars and moon house.
Right?
Moon house!
We were promised no poverty, and now we just have this fucking nightmare. Yeah, that guy, I understand where that guy's coming from.
For a second.
And he's like, we just have to kind of hang out until this world becomes the world that we were promised. Because he's like, I'm here for a perfect world. And this is not the perfect world we were promised.
I'm confused here because for a second I was confused because I was reading this and I thought these two guys were the same guy.
Yeah, they're not.
And I thought he was talking to himself.
That'd be funny.
Because he just goes fly away in one panel and then in the next panel, Dynamic Man's out there. And I was like, what's happening?
Yeah, he just tells him to leave.
So this is where we run into...
Which other guy are we talking about?
The mask... The laughing mask and...
That's the journalist guy, the Phantom Reporter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Phantom Reporter and laughing mask are talking, and he's like...
This is where there's you and I should basically be a tag team because none of the bigger guys are going to hang out with us.
Yeah.
So we should hang out together. It'll be really cool. Like you and me. And the fan reporter's just like, you're an idiot.
And he's like, well, I'm trying to get my guns back, because
his guns were confiscated.
Yeah.
I guess when he was unfrozen or something.
Unfrozen. So they're like, shit, taking my guns.
And like Laughing Mask is like, hey buddy, I know you're like sad because Black Widow's not here, but like, dude, we haven't even seen her in days and she's never gonna like you.
And then we cut
to like the best panel of the whole book, which is like Black Widow at a goth club. Yeah. And apparently that's where she's been this whole fucking time. And I'm like, Black Widow, can we be friends?
Just sitting there. Well, also, it might be a lesbian club because, according to the wiki, she is a bisexual.
Oh, yeah, good for her.
So she's a bisexual goth. And it just cuts to her this club and she's just wearing her outfit. She's like, yeah.
But she fits in because everybody else looks like that.
100%. You wouldn't even think. You wouldn't
even think twice. She's wearing a cape. You're like, yeah, you're fine. You're at a goth club. Wear a cape.
And also, what the funny thing is, her name is Clairvoyant.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, that's like her actual name.
Jokes.
Even though she's a demon woman.
Sure.
And then Dr. Everett, they show him, and he's just reading. And apparently lives in a lead-lined house, which can't be healthy. So a reporter and Laughing Mask are sitting there, and the cops come in. They're like, so you're like Laughing Mask? And he's like, well... He's like, yeah. He's like, well, we looked through your guns.
Oh, he's like, oh, are you here to give me my guns back? And he's like, so about that, the ballistics on your old ass gun matched a murder of some gangster in 1940. And since there's no statute of limitations on murder, you're under arrest.
It's saying now it is, you're like, oh, he shot a gangster. It's like, yeah, but he still murdered a dude in 1940.
Yep.
This guy is fucked.
Oh, yeah.
He has to go to jail.
So, yeah, they arrest him, and the reporter just kind of sits there and stares at him the whole time.
We get something with Wonder Man.
I think that's the professor guy.
No.
Because he's crying at the end.
Captain Wonder. Wait, so is this...
I think that's the professor.
Oh, Captain Wonder. Captain Wonder was the guy that was talking.
Yeah.
Okay, you're right. Now Jordan, I can now remember the name. Okay.
Yeah, because he's like crying at the end.
He's having a flying cry.
He
also,
is.
Immensely hairy legs.
That's what I'm talking about with these fashion choices, because like he puts his costume on and it's like...
The top half... Okay,
the top half looks like a regular costume.
The top half actually looks a lot like Commander Steel.
Yeah.
But the bottom half looks like...
The bottom half is just like short shorts. And like... again with the really lovingly rendered man leg.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, what is happening in this book?
These are so because there's actually a lot of man hair in this movie.
He's really hairy, which is fun. There's nothing wrong with a hairy leg. People have body hair and that's what it is. But at the same time, I'm just like, I've never seen it so lovingly rendered in a comic book before.
Well, these guys are from the 40s. They don't know about
waxing.
They don't know about waxing or Manscaped. They don't know about any of that stuff yet. So they're still, playing from the old school rules.
I guess
wearing short shorts and hairy legs.
Yeah. Which, whatever. Again, there's nothing wrong with it. I've just never seen it so lovingly drawn.
Basically he's just having thoughts to himself about
how shitty the world is and how his family's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's how the story ends. We get a preview of the an Eternals ongoing from 2008, which
sure.
I guess I should read this and figure out what the hell's going to happen in the movie.
I'm going in cold.
I'm going cold. Yeah, I'm going to let Angelina Jolie and Kumail tell me all about it.
Exactly.
I'll let them help me out. But yeah, that's it for the 12, number 5 from July 2008. Since there are 6 more issues in this story, would you want to read? I'll ask a different question instead of reading not wanting to read the next issue. Would you want to read this entire story?
You know what? I probably would, because it is a really interesting concept. I like what they've set up here. And the Witness, to me, is probably one of the most interesting characters I've seen in a very long time.
Yeah.
So for me, I would actually be very interested in seeing where this went, because I'm sure none of them show up again.
No, they pretty much, a lot of them I think they just pretty much just exist in this book.
Yeah. My guess is that this series was probably created to retain copyright on these characters, because they were probably all going to go out of copyright.
Yeah.
And they were like, you know what, just do something with him, because then we have however many more years if we actually want to keep him.
Here's the thing. I don't know if I would read this But if this was in a trade,
If it's in a trade, absolutely. I'm not going to, yeah.
I don't know if because it's kind of like.
I think this would be really. I've never seen this before.
Neither have I. I didn't. I thought it was like like an epic comics, like just some random thing. I didn't know what this was.
Yeah, and I've never seen it before. I have a feeling it would be very difficult to find the single issues.
Yeah, or maybe it's really easy. You think
if it was, we would have seen it before. God knows how many freaking
that's true.
single issue boxes we've been in.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, I would love a trade of this. It's kind of like I was saying. It was kind of like Camelot 3000.
Yeah.
Which I do have the trade of.
And I really enjoyed that too.
Camelot 3000 with previous episode with Robert J. Peterson.
Yeah, I mean, I would totally read it. Again, like, I really like the idea of the witness because that's so fucked up.
Yeah.
How fucking fucked up is that? And that, which of course is something that I love. So I'm like, bring me more fucked up characters like that.
Yeah, and you got a goth demon woman.
I got a goth demon lady. I mean, I can't really complain.
Yeah, there's a lot of weirdness going on here,
Yeah.
So I dig it. Anyways, that's it for this week's show. Thank you for listening. Find us on Twitter and Instagram. I'm at Angry Hero Sean.
And I'm at Jen Stansfield on Twitter and Instagram. Find us on Facebook, Worst Collection Ever, and email the show, worstcollectionever@gmail.com.
Real quick, as far as Facebook goes, I was just on there today, the day that we're recording this. I did a unboxing of an action figure I got. So, 1995 U.S. Agent.
Oh, man.
Toy Biz, a holy grail of mine. So, if you guys were so obliged, you should check that out because they are. If you don't watch them live, you can see them. They're up there. So that should be very cool. And also, very important. Please rate, review, subscribe on Apple Podcasts and tell your friends because that's how we grow the show. Thanks for listening, folks. Wear a fucking mask. Be smart out there. I'll talk to you again next week.
Bye.